Today's gospel, in some years, is proclaimed as many as 5 times. Case in point, today marks the second time we've heard this reading over the past 2 weeks. I find the trap for me is that when a passage becomes too familiar, I can start to believe I have everything figured out. I admire Mary for saying yes, but is that such a big deal? She did what God wanted her to do. Let me ask you, if an angel appeared to you, wouldn't you? Hi, I'm Deacon Steve, and the gospel reflection today is for the fourth Sunday of Advent, Luke chapter 1, verses 26 through 38, the Annunciation. Our modern eyes can sometimes make us jaded. Let's try to look at the events of the Annunciation anew, through the eyes of a first century 14-year-old girl. Mary had to deal with and overcome her fear. Angels are not always the beautiful, soft creatures pictured in children's books or placed atop a Christmas tree. In fact, they can be downright scary. Notice the first things angels tend to say. Zechariah was troubled by what he saw, and fear came upon him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid." Now there were shepherds in that region, living in the fields and keeping the night watch over their flock. The angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were struck with great fear. The angel said to them, "Do not be afraid." And in today's reading, then the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God." Mary had to deal with and overcome her fear. Now, maintaining a family's honor was absolutely essential. It was everything. Honor determined potential marriage partners with whom one could do business, what functions one could attend, where one could live, and even what religious role one could play. Family honor had to be defended at all costs, and the loss of honor could destroy the well-being of an entire extended family. Mary had to come to grips with the fact that what she was being asked to do could ruin not only herself, but bring shame and dishonor to many people. Being betrothed was not like our idea of an engagement. Marriages were not between individuals, but extended families and arranged by the parents. And marriage had absolutely nothing to do with an agreement between romantically involved couples. After an agreement was signed by each family's patriarch, the couple was considered betrothed. This agreement could be made very early in a child's life and could last a long time. Now, a betrothed couple did not live together, and sexual relations with a betrothed woman was adultery. Only after the wedding proper was the bride handed over to the husband's family. At that time, the new wife was disembedded from her birth family and embedded in the honor of her new husband and his family. The virginity of the new bride was expected. Her honor, her family's honor, the honor of her husband, and the honor of her new family depended on it. There could be severe consequences if the bride was not a virgin. Deuteronomy states, "If evidence of the young woman's virginity is not found, they shall bring the young woman to the entrance of her father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death." So Mary had to consider the consequences of having a child conceived outside of marriage, not only for herself, but how it could risk damaging the honor of her family, Joseph's family, both their extended family, and the future status of her child. Mary had to come to grips with the fact that what was being asked of her could ruin not only herself, but bring shame and dishonor to many people. Now, Mary had to overcome her doubts. We asked, did Mary have doubts? Well, it appears that she did, for the angel provides to her proof that God can do what has been proposed. The angel says, "And behold, Elizabeth, your relative, has also conceived a son in her old age. And this is the 6th month for her who was called barren, for nothing will be impossible for God." Mary had to overcome her doubts. Mary maintains her humility. Mary is being visited by an angel, been told that she is full of grace, that she has found favor with God, that she is to have a son that is not going just to be holy, but is going to be the Son of God. Now, if that were happening to me, I think I would get a pretty big head. But Mary does not. She says she is the handmaid of the Lord. Now, handmaid is from the Greek doule and means female slave. Mary is literally saying that she is the slave of the Lord. Mary maintains her humility. In today's gospel, we see that Mary had to overcome fear, had to come to grips that her decision could negatively impact those around her, had to overcome her doubts. And through this, even though she was being honored by God, she stayed humble. When it was all said and done, she simply chose to trust God. She put God ahead of her fear, ahead of her family, ahead of her future husband, ahead of her future husband's family, and ahead of the well-being of each extended family. This Advent season, we, like Mary, are called to tabernacle Jesus. We are called to listen for God's plan for us and put His will first, ahead of our fear, ahead of our spouse, ahead of our family, ahead of our work, ahead of our friends, and ahead of our doubts. In humility, let's ask for the grace to trust that God's plan is the best plan for everyone concerned. And that in trust, we are able to say with Mary, "Behold, I am the slave of the Lord. May it be done to me according to your word."